Hi guys, hello everyone. Welcome to the Adet Unfiltered Podcast. Woo! I'm super excited and really pumped up that after much deliberations and planning and decisions to be made, finally I can be talking to you all and be sharing what I have with you all. So let me go formal, I think. I'd like to officially welcome you all to the Adet Unfiltered Podcast and welcome to the first episode, the very first one of the Adet Unfiltered Podcast. Today's episode would be a little bit unique because it's the very first one and I'm your soon-to-be favorite host, your ever-loving host, Adet Faith. But for the sake of this podcast, I think you can simply address me as Adet, just for the sake of the podcast. I've asked myself regularly, what should I talk about in the very first episode? Like, this is my very first time picking up a mic that I want to record anything. And I thought about it, what do I want to record for the very first episode? And I finally decided that, okay, why don't we just do introduction, how this podcast came about, how I am able to be talking to you all right now, how you are able to hear my voice. So I decided, let's do an introduction and just set a pace, like, let me whet your appetite a bit about what is to come. So let's take a dive into who I am. My name is Adet Unfiltered Faith. I'm a Nigerian pharmacy student at the University of Page, Hungary. I fully started my walk with God 2020. So let's calculate it. It's like 3 years and some months. And I would like to share my experiences on how the journey has been so far and how I've been able to maintain a working relationship with God, how I've been able to stand before him as a son, as a daughter, anyone that you want to pick. So I know you all might be wondering that the podcast is a gospel podcast. So why is it not why is the name of the podcast not in the chapter of the Bible? Well, growing up in church and realizing as an adult that I didn't have a personal relationship with Christ, it wasn't intimate. It was like I and God were having like a long distance relationship. It was a creator-created relationship that I had with God. But I knew who God was, but I did not know him personally. It was more like I knew that Jesus Christ died for my sins. I knew that I was a good girl. I knew I was saved. I knew heaven was real. Heaven is real. And I knew that heaven was sure when I died because I believe in Jesus Christ. But I did not understand that there was more to being a Christian than just believing. Like, believing is what makes me qualified for heaven, is what makes me saved. But there was more to like my lifestyle here on earth. So as I grew up, I started to try to find more by myself of what I need to do to actually be this Christian. I don't know if that has ever happened to any one of you, but like when people are saying that, oh, I prayed today and God told me this, or I was just walking on the street and the Holy Spirit revealed to me, I'm like, are you people not lying? What do you mean that by the Holy Spirit revealed to you? Like, I was actually jealous of them, but at the same time I was angry that I cannot do what other people were doing. So because of that, I said that, okay, I was going to have a relationship with God. So I picked up my Bible in the year, I think 2019 or 2018. And I was like, oh, I'm going to read the Bible all through this year. And like, I was so super pumped up. That was my New Year's resolution. But I think it was probably like middle of March that I realized that the last time I actually followed my Bible plan was like maybe the second week of January. So it was then I realized that being a Christian or walking with God or having an intimate relationship with God is a father-daughter relationship. Like, I receive instruction from the Holy Spirit. It's not just like me. It's a partnership. It's a father-daughter relationship. So it was more like it was all hula baloo. Everything I tried to do by my efforts, it was just failing from left and right. Today I will say I will not do this, and then the next day I'm already doing it. Or today I say, oh, I'm going to do this, and then give me 2 weeks, I'm already off it. I've even forgotten that I actually said I was going to do something like that. So as this podcast unfolds, as we get to know each episode and as you get to know me better, you actually find answers of how I became the person, from this person that did not really understand the concept of having a relationship with God, to the girl that is talking to you right now. So the name Adet Unfiltered actually stems from the reason for the podcast, because in this podcast I'll be sharing the truth about the gospel unapologetically, without any influence from my environment, or I'm going to step on some toes. I'm sorry in advance. I said unapologetically, but I'm actually apologizing in advance. So when the time comes, you don't take offense in whatever I'm going to be saying, because I'll be stepping on some toes. Some tables will be broken. Some tables will be shattered. Like, a lot of things is actually going to be happening on this podcast. So I'm just going to be sharing with you all about how I've been able to walk through different phases actually, because there are phases in this walk with God, and how I've been able to maintain it so far. So the term unfiltered is because I want to share it with all honesty. I will share my ups, my downs, my downfalls, my glow ups, my burnout. Every single thing will be shared to you without any sugarcoating or anything like that. It's just about the gospel, and it's all about experience. It's like the Adet Unfiltered podcast is a space where experience meets the scriptures. So it's not a sermon podcast. It's to show you that these are the things that are happening in real life, and these are the ways you can tackle it. Do you get? So what would the podcast be about? I think that's what it will take me to. The podcast is actually here to help young Christians maximize their walk with God without having to wonder, okay, what if I fall, or what if I fail? You know, I said it earlier that I failed so many times. I failed so many times, and it's hard to actually get back up in between. There are times when you fail and you're like, I'm not doing it again. So this podcast is here to encourage people that are struggling with aspects in their life, to let them know that you are not alone. There are a lot of people that have gone through this phase that you are going through, and they are going to be coming on the podcast to actually help you and let you know what they did that got them through that phase, what they did that got them through whatever they were going through at that point in time, and how they were able to tackle it. So the Adet Unfiltered is here to also help people to know what it means when we say we are building capacity in the spirit. Like, what does capacity building in the spirit means? What does spiritual growth entails, and how everyone should go through it. So why am I actually recording the podcast now? Well, I've been, from 2020 till now, I've been able to converse with different people, people that don't have full understanding and people that have full understanding. And I realized that a lot of people want to have a walk with God, but they do not understand like how to do it. They don't know how to go about it. So I thought of it that I could be of help to them by sharing my experience. And also we'll be having visitors on the podcast. I'm really excited because these are people that have helped me grow as the day go by. They are people that I look up to in this spiritual walk. And I don't know, it's really, how will I put it? I'm very pumped up to know that these people will be coming here. The way they've blessed me, they'll be able to bless other people. They'll be able to share their own experiences and how the things that has been of great importance to them. So the Adet Unfiltered podcast will be a bi-weekly podcast because, I mentioned it earlier that I'm a student and I'm a pharmacy student at that. So I might not be able to record an episode every single week, but I promise that we're going to be getting an episode every 2 weeks. And I'll be inviting some of my friends, like I said, my mentors, the people that have helped me grow in this journey, and I just believe that they will be of great help to people. So at every episode, don't worry, this is the only episode that you hear only me talking, I think. Yeah, but at every episode we'll have different guests, or we'll have the same guests. It depends. I can't really say that much right now. But yeah, the great thing about this podcast is that it will be a conversation podcast. So We are open to have your questions and your your experience. Okay, maybe you experience something and you would like us to give an opinion on it, or you like us to give you how to continue with that situation, or you even have any questions about our topic so far. So this is like the first one, but like, do you get? Just so if you have any question about our topics, you can feel free to send us your questions to our Instagram page at adet_unfiltered, or to our email at adetunfiltered@gmail.com. So feel free to send your questions, your experiences. And I'm actually very excited because next week episode we'll be talking about the gospel unleashed. Like, what do you know about the gospel? Feel free to send us answers to, like, this is what I know about the gospel. This is what I've learned about the gospel. We are all here to learn, unlearn, and relearn. So that's basically what the podcast is about. Ask your questions. Like, what are the things that you get confused about? So next week, we'll be having a guest that will be talking about the gospel unleashed. We are going to be dissecting the gospel, talking about how the gospel has affected our lives. And I'm just very, very excited at it. So just like, be expectant for the next episode. I'm actually very expectant, so I don't know about you. So we've come to the end of today's episode. Like I said, the episode will be a little bit unique because it's the very first one. And yeah, I hope you had a great time. I actually did, and I can't wait for the coming episode. And I get that it might be a bit awkward at first, because for me, it's actually a bit awkward to be recording an episode, to carry a mic and be and be recording an episode. But yeah, we get better and we grow better. Like, doing things over and over is what brings perfection. So don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and leave a review on our Instagram page. Until next time, bye guys.